Pokemon has now officially reached 888 Pokemon with the release of Sword and Shield, and it'll most likely reach over 1,000 by the time the 10th generation comes out. And with so many Pokemon on the loose and a ton of merch being sold, tell me, do you ever wonder what kind of Pokemon never made the cut? There have been hundreds, right? Well, as of this recording, there have been dozens of Pokemon uncovered from the cutting room floor. Many of these Pokemon either only appearing in official artwork, various art books, some books that were released recently, or just through the beta versions of these games. Either way, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the Pokemon that were unfortunately, or maybe in some cases fortunately, cut out of the main franchise. First up is the Capsule Monsters designs, which, if you're not aware, is just what Pokemon was originally. You'd store Pokemon, or rather monsters, in your capsules, as opposed to balls, kind of like Capsule Corp in the original Dragon Ball series, only with monsters. Also, as a side note, trainers weren't called trainers, but they were beast tamers, and they would use whips to control their monsters. Wow, that wouldn't have been controversial at all. The few that were designed, or at least the ones that were found, were notably lackluster. I mean, they're just really uninspired, but that's probably not because of the fact that they were final designs or anything, but just pre-alpha level design. So more likely they were just designed in order to be a proof of concept so that the art team can fully flesh them out. So we get stuff like this, which has the same Pokedex number as Jinx, but also shares one with Caterpie. It doesn't really resemble anything, but I'm just going to say it ended up being Caterpie. Then we got the possible pre-alpha version of Qwilfish, a humorous mock battle screen featuring a hat-wearing King Kong sprite fighting a Godzilla-esque Pokemon, both named Gorilimo and Godzillante, respectively. Then we get this interesting screenshot showing in more detail what Capsule Monsters was going to be before eventually becoming Pokemon. Translated, we can see that there are some interesting new stats such as the TP meter and intelligence stat and gold as currency. Moving on, we also have this large sprite sheet featuring a plethora of Pokemon that were not included in the final game. Apparently, Satoshi Tajiri revealed in his educational manga, The Man Who Created Pokemon, that Pokemon all went through a sort of voting period where the staff would vote for their favorite Pokemon and include the ones that were highly voted. So many of these Pokemon, while probably making it far into the development period, well, as far as they could go before eventually getting canned, most likely got crushed because the staff just didn't like them. That's why mixed in with these weirdo Pokemon you've never seen before are some familiar faces like Rhydon, Execute, Lickitung, Nidoking, Nidoqueen, Voltorb, Slowbro, etc. But then there's some weird ones like maybe Ivysaur and Venusaur, then possibly Gengar.
You know what? I love myself. Even though I look like a burnt chicken nugget, I still love myself.
Among these are the ones that are nearly impossible to identify though, possibly because they were never released. My favorite one is this little terrifying space creature. By God, that is so weird. Also, there's this little Spyro Scyther hybrid, which, I don't know, I just like him. This one also ended up probably being Arcanine, but I don't know, there's no more detail about him anyways. But I like me some big poofy woofers, so I like him a lot. There's also these humorous little drawings of what may have ended up being Snorlax, but it could have just ended up being a concept sketch and someone added what I'm assuming one of the dev team members. Some say it's Koji Nishino, and he is one of the old school programmers, so it's very likely that it's just him. Now we get into the stuff that I'm sure you all know about by now. As mentioned previously, Satoshi Tajiri's book revealed a ton about the history of Pokemon, and amongst them were unused assets or Pokemon that never saw the light of day. Some of these are kind of cool looking, like this stag thing with an insectoid body, I don't know. And others looked... oh, good God. But there's not really much to say that other people haven't already said. There are some Pokemon that were described or talked about or seen in the game's files that just never had any sort of art associated with them at all, like the infamous Gorochu that was said to be Raichu's evolution. Nothing ever came out of this Pokemon as it was apparently going to just cause game balance issues, which, I mean, there were a ton already, so I guess they just wanted to prevent more bullshit from happening. Apparently, there was also a bunny with a flower on its nose that never saw even concept art, and a Mega Flygon that unfortunately was never released. Actually, can I be real with you for a second? I honestly, while I was researching this, I could have sworn there already was a Mega Flygon. Legit, I really thought there was, I thought that was a thing. I even remember seeing a Mega Flygon transform in X and Y. I'm legit going through like a Mandela effect moment here. I swear, I thought Mega Flygon was a thing. I'm pretty sure there was, but there's not. Huh. We can also blaze on through some Pokemon that did make it into the game, but were just redesigned. Okay, so like Weedle is apparently this thing, and this is apparently Kakuna. This was labeled as undecided by Game Freak on their website, but ended up being Beedrill, though some compare it to Leafeon. This is Spearow. This is Clefairy. This, if you can believe it, is Seal. This is Dragonair. This is Meryl, aka Peekaboo. Now, some of these were also pretty interesting with their previous designs. Girafaridge, or Girafaridge, I don't know how to say the name, was a Pokemon I always thought was really freaky because of its smiling tail, but probably not as freaky as its previous incarnation of just having two halves of a giraffe gorilla glued together. Good lord. This one has to be the worst Pokemon design I've ever seen. I think we all know about this one. It's Suicune and Raikou combined to make this absolute shit. This is the worst fusion dance I've ever seen. Also, Blackface Blossom.
This is something that I deeply, deeply regret. Darkening your face, regardless of the context or the circumstances, is always unacceptable because of the racist history of blackface. I should have understood that then. And
then we have this weird Pokemon that nobody's ever seen before, but widely speculated to be the worst Pokemon ever, Dreidel Boy. Also, Parachute Jeans, Anoladias, and Blackface Blossom.
I take responsibility for my decision to do that. I shouldn't have done it. I should have known better. It was something that...
The last Pokemon I wanted to end on were these huge, just massive info dumps that just came from the beta versions of the second gen. Apparently, in Nintendo Space World 1997, there was a beta for the latest Pokemon game coming out, Gold and Silver, and anyone who got their hands on it reportedly saw over 40 Pokemon that were inevitably scrapped from the final release, yet was in the beta version of the game. These Pokemon included the Fire Starter and Water Starter lineup that never saw the light of day, but also unevolved versions of Meowth, Vulpix, Paris, and a bunch of other Pokemon. Completely different designs for Pokemon like Pichu and Entei and 25 other Pokemon, and apparently somehow someone got a hold of 4 ROM images of the game that were promptly leaked during the presentation. 2 versions that worked on normal Game Boys, and 2 that were debugged versions. For the longest time, it was just believed to be rumors, but eventually someone online posted download links to these ROMs. This all happened in 2018, and it led to a wealth of unreleased info being spread out to the world. This now gives us a clear image on what the Pokemon looked like before final release, and not just that, but old sprite work that was otherwise unused. You can find more info on the Cutting Room Floor website, which I'll leave linked in the description, but I wanted to focus on a few notable entries. Here we have Bayleaf. Yeah, seriously, I bet you wouldn't have said that if you didn't know that this was Bayleaf. It's a pretty drastic change from the final design, but honestly, I prefer this over what we got. I'm just not a big fan of Chikorita's evolutions, to be honest. Next up, we got the starters we saw, but this time in color, Honoguma, Borubea, and Dynabear. I really, really love these. Again, I just really prefer them over Cyndaquil, which I just never really liked, or his evolutions. And these guys, I absolutely adore. Fucking Fire Bear, are you kidding me? That's awesome. Kurusu, Aqua, and Aquaria. This is basically just Popo and Popio, whatever his fucking name is, and his line of evolutions, and I just like them way more. Like the Popio ones, not this one. I'm just happy that we have Totodile instead than this, because this one doesn't look that great. Noctowl looks super different, real sleek. I kind of dig it. Mikon is probably the first of many pre-evolutions that never made it, and it's the pre-evolution of Vulpix. It's really, really cute, and I really, really love Vulpix, so I'm kind of sad that it never happened, that this Pokemon was released. I would have loved to have seen it. But weirdly enough, the interesting thing about this Pokemon is that it's listed as a water type, when clearly the color scheme and the fact that it belongs to Vulpix should have been fire type. Maybe this was a mistake, but I can't help but feel that maybe Game Freak wanted to do something weird with typings during Gen 2. Maybe have Pokemon lose certain types as they evolve, just like Eevee, though that might have caused some issues down the line. Mangia and Jaranra apparently being pre-evolutions and evolutions of Tangela respectively. Tangela has always seemed like this underappreciated Pokemon, so it would have been nice to get more love out of him, but sadly that didn't happen until the 4th gen. Here's Pichu. Manbu, Ikari, and Gurotesu, an evolution line of Pokemon that just never saw the light of day, though I will say I love Ikari's design. This whole half shark, half anchor Pokemon, like, that's really cool, and the water steel typing, it's also pretty cool, though its last evolution is kind of shitty. I mean, its name does translate to grotesque, so yeah. Baby Paris. Aww. Animon. Oh my god, it's Ditto's older brother / evolution. Apparently it's more metallic. I'm not really sure why Ditto would even need an evolution, and it still stays as a normal type. Whatever. Baby Doduo. Why has it got 3 heads? What happened to the 3rd? Oh my god. This one's really cool. Its name is Suinzu, and it's apparently the pre-evolution to Girafarig. It's a dark normal type, and I can't find really any reason why they wouldn't add this Pokemon. Probably because Girafarig ended up being a normal psychic type. But, I mean, my biggest peeve has always been that certain Pokemon don't have pre-evolutions. I'm looking at you, Kangaskhan. Knowing that so many of these Pokemon have pre-evolutions, and that they were going to be added, they even have their own sprites, it's really disheartening for me, especially since a lot of them are so cute or just really cool. Some of these are just really baffling. I don't know why they wouldn't have added it. Like, look at this one. Pre-evolution Meow. Aww. Please, oh my fucking god, that is so cute. Why, Lord, why did they scrap this? This is the cutest motherfucker, oh my god. Rinrin and Berudan, dark type Pokemon cats that are only female. Kind of weird that they didn't add her, as they made dark type Pokemon in this generation to combat against psychic types being overpowered in Gen 1, yet a lot of dark types were just scrapped, it seems. It's a shame because this Pokemon is cute. Like, it's really, really adorable. Here's Baby Ponyta. Weirdly enough, it's a normal type. Again, going back to my theory of like Game Freak wanting to experiment with losing typings as the Pokemon evolved. Taban, which is just Slowbro Shell, which is like, that is a childhood dream. Do you know how many times I looked at that tail? I'm like, how is that not its own Pokemon? Why didn't they add him? I understand that it's supposed to be a Shelder that evolved with Slowbro, but that never made sense to me, honestly, because all he does is just stand up. It's not like he grows wings. He just stands up. I don't know. Here's Baby Grimer. That looks really stupid, but kind of cute. It's like a melted Kirby. Here's Igor. Just kidding, it's Octillery. Tyrogue and Hitmontop look real different, and as much as I don't like Hitmontop, this design beats whatever they had going on. What the fuck? Oh my god, no way. It's a baby Growlithe. Are you kidding? Why didn't they add? Why did they cut all of these? They're so cute. Are you kidding me? This is what Hoppip looked like before they redesigned it. And to be honest, it makes more sense that its name was Haneko here, because now it looks more like a cat. I understand it also means root, but I like the more cat feline aesthetics than what we got with like a more generic looking feline-ish thing. I don't know, I just kind of like the design more. Here's Mime Jr. 16 years before he was actually released. It has a more ballerina-esque design, kind of similar to Mime Jr., but not really. And this is the sort of thing that confuses me. If eventually they wanted to come out with a Mime Jr., or rather a pre-evolution to Mr. Mime, then why scrap it now and wait like years later? Obviously they're not gonna wait. Somebody brought it up while making the Pokemon for the 6th generation, but I don't know, like, it seems kind of a waste. Here's Bart Simpson. Just kidding, it's Magme. Aren't I really funny? Please subscribe and like. Here's a water fire seal Pokemon that's named Bomushika, which has this like bomb fireball on its nose, and it's really kind of cool. This one's cool too. It's an electric tiger. Its name is Kotoro, and the evolution is Raitoro. And it's why did they cut? I don't, man. Anyways, here's Madame, which is a swan wizard-ish Pokemon. Kind of looks like Farfetch'd, but oh no, wait, actually it is the evolved version of Farfetch'd. Sorry, Farfetch'd, you're gonna have to wait another fucking 20 years until someone gives you an evolution. This is Porygon 2, and it looks nothing like the original Porygon 2 we actually got. Here's Lickitung's evolution, which kind of looks cool, and I kind of wish they kept it. I mean, a lot of these I wish they kept it, but this one especially. Like, I don't like Lickitung, and quite frankly, I do kind of like his other evolution that they did eventually give, but this one is kind of cool. I don't know, I enjoy it. Did you know Leafeon was supposed to be in this game also? They just didn't add Leafeon at all. Here he is. He's right there. He was supposed to be in this game, but sadly they had to wait another 10 years until they could be added to the game. This one's cool. It's a werewolf Pokemon. It evolves at level 35 into this, and it's oh man, I keep saying it's cool because I have nothing else to say. These are all really well made characters. I like them all, and there's even a Pinsir evolution that looks really nice. They just scrapped them, probably because of memory's sake, and they did have notorious amounts of issues that needed to be fixed by Satoru Iwata eventually, so that might be connected as to why so many of these Pokemon were just never added. But by God, some of these are just so amazing, and you can check out all of them. I barely scratched the surface. There's a ton, but there is two more that I wanted to mention. That being the Legendary 3, and of course this Pokemon, which is named Norowara. It apparently evolves at level 1, so that's weird. I have no idea what that means. I'm essentially assuming that it can level up whenever it wants to, or whenever you want it to, into this. And I don't know, that's just an interesting gameplay mechanic, a Pokemon that can just evolve whenever he wants, and its design is really cool. I've always loved the Ghost-type Pokemon, and the fact that this isn't in the game, it's a bummer. And finally, the last 3 Pokemon I will talk about are, of course, the Legendary 3, that is Raikou, Entei, and Suicune. All of them having these beta designs, which look not that great, to be honest. I especially love Raikou's one, which is just this emo looking like cyber dog, and then there's Suicune's, which is like an emo My Little Pony. The generic ass Entei design is not that great either. All of them look really bad, and I'm glad that they were all redesigned into what we know now. But to see all of these Pokemon, and many more, like I said, there is a ton more that I didn't cover, to see that so many of them were changed or removed is both disheartening and relieving. Relieving because I don't want emo Suicune, but disheartening also because many of these are so good. Like, I love the werewolf Pokemon. I love the fact that there was a Growlithe pre-evolution, an evolution to Pinsir. I don't know, this ghost type Pokemon that we never heard of, this tiger electric thing that, why wasn't it released? It looks so cool. All of these are just, it's a shame that we're not going to get them. It really is. But hopefully in the future they will be released, because like I said, a lot of these Pokemon eventually did become a Pokemon later on, or were inspired for other Pokemon later on, like the Mime Jr. one. It clearly never came out for the 2nd gen, but it did come out for the 5th gen. And while there are probably hundreds of other Pokemon that we've never seen before hiding within the beta files of Pokemon games that we don't currently have access to, eventually they'll recirculate. I mean, there's only so many ideas they'll have until eventually they have to go back to the old drawing boards and draw inspiration from that. But I don't know, I'm just rambling now. This is probably the longest Boosemas episode I've ever made, and I'm really sorry for that. I'm just hoping that it was entertaining for all of you, because I've just been geeking out and fanning out over all of these weird little designs, and I'm heartbroken that we're never gonna get these. At least for now, we're not gonna get them. Anyways, please enjoy the rest of Boosemas. I promise they won't be this long anymore. Bye, guys.